All right, so there is this one point in time when I thought that meditation was for suckers. I thought meditation was such a flimsy, phony practice, and I never really tried it, didn't buy into it. I thought it was a whole bunch of foo-foo. But then I actually just set everything aside and gave it a shot. And turned out I ended up being pretty good at it and actually helped in a lot of different instances for me. So there's two kinds of meditation that I typically do. The first kind is actually just the feeling kind. And that's basically me just kind of, and I'm not saying empty my mind. I'm just not focusing on anything. I'm actually letting my mind wander. So I let my mind wander, but in efforts to feel more. So this is actually where I go over kind of a little bit of a status check. Like if my knee is hurting or something like that, like physically hurting, I'll try and like feel out like where things are a little achy or where things feel really good. But a lot of this type of meditation, I'm not really hyper focusing on anything. I'm not focusing on any particular thought. I'm not even really focusing on that body part that's, hurting or aching or whatever it may be. I'm more so like daydreaming, right? So, I kind of just lay out on the floor. I completely relax. So the whole idea for this portion of or what I do here is to relieve tension. So I'm just relaxing and letting go of the tension that inevitably builds up over this life. So I use that as an opportunity, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, just to kind of lay out there and feel and daydream and relax. Sometimes I fall asleep. Other times I'm still pretty, awake, but really, really relaxed. This is kind of comparable to if you have heard of yoga nidra, but it's not quite the same thing. A lot of times what I'll do to kind of get in that mode is I'll listen to or watch, and you're going to laugh, Bob Ross painting episodes, because that's my guy. Like Bob Ross I have never seen anybody. He's just a real calm, or he was a really calm, cool dude, and just that sound of the painting knife and going against the canvas and the brush against the canvas is actually one of the reasons why I started painting back in the day in the first place. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. But that's the type of meditation that I'll start off with usually. So for the thinking kind of meditation that I do, I break it out into different sections here. So the first section typically is just meditating on God's word. Right? For me, it's whatever I'm reading in my Bible study, or it's just some verse that comes up, or just meditating on some of the principles and precepts of Christianity in general, right? So I'll meditate on that for about 5 minutes or so, and then I'll go into kind of a self-reflection period where this is kind of where I do my self-analysis and emotional check, right? So in the previous, I guess 2 episodes ago, in episode 3, talking about a sound heart, I said one of the ways that you can train your emotions is through meditation. So this is the process that I'm talking about specifically, where you analyze what you're feeling, how you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and you analyze what you're thinking, how you're thinking, why you're thinking it. So it's just a period, a short period, of course, but it's a short period of self-reflection at that point. And then what I typically do then is I move on to thinking about working out. It's kind of crazy, right? Like say you're like addicted to the gym without saying you're addicted to the gym, but I meditate on, let's just say it's a lagging body part, right? My biceps, and I always use my biceps as an example for some reason. Maybe because I like that part the least. But I meditate on actually doing bicep curls without actually, lifting the weights or anything like that. And there were a whole bunch of studies that I kind of pulled that from, One of them was a study done with basketball players, and they were shooting free throws. Two groups were shooting free throws. One group actually went to practice to shoot free throws, and the other group didn't go to practice, but they envisioned shooting free throws, and both groups improved in accuracy. So that's one thing. There was also a study done with bodybuilders, well-trained lifters, and the one group did lifting as usual, and the other group just envisioned and visualized and thought about and meditated on lifting, and both groups saw gains. So I take those studies and think like, okay, you can actually change your physical body by thinking. And we knew this in a way, right? So I use that moment, 5 minutes again, to envision working out a particular lagging muscle part or something like that, where I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to grow my biceps. So I actually envision for 5 minutes doing 3 sets of 20 bicep curls. But that's part of my process. And then the next part of that process, I envision particular outcomes. Now, here's the key with this one. I envision, I just almost knocked the glasses off my face. Listen, I envision particular outcomes, understanding that I might not always achieve those outcomes. So I envision like different arenas, right? So I envision being a better father, being a better husband, a better business owner, a better athlete, a better person just in general in life, right? So I envision these particular outcomes, being in that particular state or achieving those certain things. And because I have an understanding that these outcomes are not at all guaranteed, I then go into my next section of meditation, which is basically thanking God for the blessings along the way. Because what I do understand is, even though I might not reach that particular outcome, almost every single time there's something that I gain through the process of going for that outcome. So I thank God for that process and the blessings that fall within the process, the growth that I achieve or the patience that I gain or whatever it is. I thank God for that part of the process. So that's how I usually break out my meditation, right? It sounds very strict and structured. It doesn't have to be that way for you. I would start off potentially with just maybe like a 5 minute relaxation one, and then a 5 minute focus on something one, and then see where it goes from there. I mean, that's exactly where I started, and then it grew into this 30, 45 minute process. So there's your quick tip. All right. So let's break out into the main topic here, right? Again, we talking about some shoulders.